Wild Rift needs to be stopped. You see, I know that the majority of my audience are League players specifically, or players who stopped playing League but they are still watching League videos for some reason. And while Wild Rift may not necessarily carry your attention, this time it's different. Because on top of Wild Rift getting cool things which the League player base would also like, I'm mainly talking about gameplay, not really monetization, well, they are also teasing things that are potentially coming to League as well. And this time it might be hints towards the secret Arcane VGU coming to League PC, but also Ambessa finally popped up with her in-game appearance. And that is something a lot of people started talking about. So today, let's dive into the latest Wild Rift update, mostly because there are some things League players are worried about. So this update starts with the introduction of John Wrong, the product lead of Wild Rift, and David Zhu, the executive producer. And straight off the beginning, you might notice that the production of the entire update is a lot higher than what League of Legends has. But then again, the League dev updates are a lot faster. So there is a trade to be had here, but I wouldn't be surprised if the next League of Legends update also got higher production. Because that update should also be based on Arcane. Anyway, when it comes to Wild Rift, this will be their last patch of the year. And every time they get a major patch, it is always heavily themed. This year they started with Dragonmancers, then it was taken over by Ruination, then T-Hex appeared to change Summoner's Rift, and now Arcane will get us through the final part of the year. But on top of that, it is also Wild Rift's 4th anniversary. So they quickly give us some fun stats. For example, we are currently sitting at 114 champions in Wild Rift, which is way more than people expected for a mobile game. And even though Viego was always considered to be impossible in a mobile game, currently he is sitting as one of the most popular champions in Wild Rift. Though to be fair, I am pretty sure he's also really high up in League of Legends too. So it's really just the fact that Viego is simply a fun champion to play. And since this is a time where the Wild Rift anniversary is gonna be combining together with the Arcane release, there should be some chunky free rewards heading towards the Wild Rift players. One of which will be a free bee skin. Get it? It's a freebie. As well as other random skins and goodies. Now here, just remember one crucial thing. Wild Rift is a lot more aggressive with its monetization than League PC. So while all of these free goodies are really good, it is all offset by the vastly different practices around mobile games. And in fact, that one guaranteed skin drop from a new theme is there nearly every single time they roll out a new gacha wave. So it's good, but yeah, Wild Rift is a bit more aggressive. Anyway, as they start talking about Arcane, they talk about the fact that we will be finally ready to witness the fate of Vi and Jace. Which is kinda interesting, because up until this very moment, Jace was never mentioned in any promotional material at all, so we still have no idea what to expect there. But since they wanna go deeper into what's happening in Arcane, they invite Christian Link onto the stage. Or at least the virtual environment, who of course is the co-creator of Arcane. Here he mentioned how Arcane was only possible because of how their games crafted the characters and this really cool universe. Without it, they wouldn't really have much, and so now it is time for Arcane to start giving back to the games. Which is why Wild Rift is getting a new multi-part narrative experience based on Arcane. In the first part, players will witness Echo's and Heimerdinger's new relationship as friends as well as scientists. And Christian even mentioned that this is a Wild Rift exclusive, which could mean that the experience itself is exclusive, and the storyline will be also shown in Arcane directly. But it is also possible that the show will just skip this entire part because it is not that important for the storytelling, and in Wild Rift you'll get a chance to see how their friendship became a thing. I guess I'll keep you updated as we learn more. And if it is exclusive and it won't appear in Arcane, I guess I have to cover that. Anyway, in the second part, we'll be getting Ambessa, who is also becoming a playable champion in Wild Rift. But hang on for a second on that. First, the video goes back to the Wild Rift team, where they start talking about the upcoming champions. So first, Wild Rift is getting Heimerdinger. And yes, he has eyes. At least he does in the HD model. In-game, he has goggles just like he has in League. In fact, the only difference between the two models is that the one in Wild Rift has blue coat, because that one is based on Arcane. And of course, Heimerdinger's gameplay is not the most complex, so it is pretty much one-to-one compared to his League PC gameplay. But then, after him, we are getting Ambessa. And since Ambessa is also arriving in League PC, we can expect that this is gonna be a one-to-one comparison. So, here they mentioned that she will have agile and lethal combos, and they even hint at different choices with these combos. So I'm gonna assume her gameplay is gonna be something like Brand, where depending on which order you use your abilities, she's gonna do slightly different things. In a way, it is possible she is gonna feel more like a fighting game champion. You know, a 2x KO kinda deal. And of course, because we are talking about something more complex, they do mention that she is challenging to master. Now, while her gameplay is not directly shown here, her intro animation is hinting at the blades at the end of long chains. This is the exact same thing that was teased in the Arcane 2 teasers. And of course, just like what she did there, she does also have her golden mask here, and surprisingly, it looks really good. When it first appeared in Arcane, I was a bit scared that her original design looked better than the one where she was armed, but no, it is actually pretty good. However, the one thing people don't really like is the green fur. This one actually sparked a lot of conversations, and everyone pretty much unanimously agreed it is weird. Now, we weren't told anything about this design, but I do believe it makes sense why it's green. See, the reason is quite simple. If she had white fur on her shoulders, which is what people would normally expect based on her design in Arcane, in-game you would be able to mix her up with Draven, who also has white fur on his shoulders, with both of them also utilizing those Noxian details on their character. And if they wanted to go with black fur, well, now you could be mixing her up with Sent, who is also a very beefed up fighter. So because they couldn't go with the classic black or white fur, or anything in between really, my assumption is that they had to go with a bit more weirder color. So on paper, it makes sense why they did this. However, I do believe there could be better options on how to deal with this. For example, just scrap the fur. Ambessa looks really cool in her Imperial armor too. And if you just take that and slap on the golden mask, then yeah, that would be really cool. However, then it wouldn't really be her canonical appearance because it's not really her battle garb, but who am I to talk about this? I guess. But then we get to the one champion that was teased to come after Ambessa. And this one is interesting because they teased it by saying that they are still incubating and enjoying their scientific stasis. Which means most people believe that Victor is arriving in Wild Rift. There is nothing confirmed, but people really thought, who else could it be? Now, they are also using some puns, but I will not mention those because potentially those could spoil some things from Arcane. But the important part is that by proxy, people believe that this also confirms that Victor is gonna be the secret Arcane VGU in League. Since these things usually relate between the games, and again, everyone else is already in Wild Rift. So the possibility of Victor getting a VGU suddenly skyrocketed. Now next, they also mentioned that Arcane will give Wild Rift a new set of skins. My bets are on the Vi skin and the Jing skin, but hey, everyone already knows that, I guess. Then there are also some mini updates for champions, such as Singed and, ironically, also Warwick. Both of them are getting buffed, and I am pretty sure they just want to boost their play rate before Arcane, because, you know, they are included. After which they dive further into the events. So, the Arcane event is called Firelights Reignite, and it's gonna be focusing on exploring Benzo's shop and the Firelights hideout. And it will be done by utilizing different immersive storylines and minigames. And again, here they mentioned that they will be telling never-before-shown stories, but we're still not sure on the exclusivity. if it really turns out to be something totally separate from Arcane, we will have to cover it separately. But then they also dive into some of the gameplay updates. Wild Rift is kinda known now for doing crazy things with Summoner's Rift. Last time they gave the game a whole new objective in the form of T-Hex, and now in the newest patch they are also adding in the Hex Elder Dragon, which is pretty much the same Elder Dragon as before with the Execute and everything around that, except now it also gives you a Chain Lightning ability. Also, the Scuddler is now a Tech Scuddler, and apparently they have different abilities based on which side they are on. And that is all we learned for now. Then there are some quality of life improvements, such as the fact that vision on mobile game is pretty horrible. So to help with that, there will be now visual and audio indicators whenever a champion is discovered by a ward. Ranked in Wild Rift is also getting an update, and this is a weird one and a big one. For example, to smooth out the climbing through Masters, Masters will now be split into 3 tiers. And for Gold players and below, they are just removing the pick and ban phase to get people faster into the game, which is pretty drastic. Also, specifically for the Chinese server, without really getting any context at all, we learned that they will be exclusively getting 5 bans in games that are Master and above. Again, we don't really learn why. Then, talking about game modes, there will be a new one called Showdown. This is a game mode that gives you 6 new ultimate items that are based on items that you will recognize from Arcane, such as Shimmer and the Warden Shields, and also the Arm Cannon that is actually from Legends of Runeterra. Maybe this is hinting it's gonna appear in Arcane too. To get these ultimate items, you just collect item fragments around the game, and then you just craft it at the shop, which is a pretty cool twist on item acquisition. And then, at the end of the year, it is gonna be a Christmas season, so expect a lot of gifts and also some deals. Because it is also gonna be Black Friday, and if there is anything Wild Rift needs, they do need sales. Then, of course, they are also getting a new season for Ranked. And since Ranked is always giving out crazy skins in Wild Rift, this time they are getting Jhin. And with the new season, it also means a new pass. And this time around, the exclusive skin is the Psychic Detective Kha'Zix, which is part of an ongoing skin line that is always exclusive to the passes. And Elderwood Xayah will complete the Elderwood duo, because Rakan was the one who got the skin before and not Xayah, and she will be available from the second pass of the season. Yes, just like TFT, Wild Rift also split the season for 2 passes. And as all of these passes are going on, there will also be an Arcane special pass. And this one will include 2 special Arcane skins. You can guess what skins I think it's gonna be. After which, as they always do, the Wild Rift update goes into the skin montage. So, Wild Rift is getting the Shanghai Scrolls Jax, as well as Ornn, and even Ahri. Then there is Stargazer Sona, Stargazer Talon, Stargazer Gwen, Battleship Soraka, which is part of the Anima Squad skin line. And in fact, there's gonna be a lot of new exclusives. For example, Battle Mare Sivir, Battlebat Vayne, Battlehound Fiora, Primordian Aatrox, Prestige Battle Bunny Misfortune, High Noon Ash Mythic variant. Yes, Wild Rift does also have their own mythic variants for the legendary skins. Then there is also Winterblessed Annie, Winterblessed Diana, Winterblessed Lilia, Winterblessed Hecarim, Winterblessed Nami, Darkstar Thresh, and finally Darkstar Karma. Then at the end we also get introduced to a new creative director for Wild Rift, and she is known for teasing new champions with puns. And so it is teased that Rumble and Poppy are potentially coming to Wild Rift. And with that, this update really ends. What's kinda hilarious to see is that now Wild Rift is only missing like 40 champions before they catch up with League. Like, yes, I know that at the beginning they said that their goal is to have every single League champion in Wild Rift 2, but it is wild to see this actually happen. But yeah, from this update we got a lot of information for League 2 as well as Arcane. For example, Arcane enjoyers might want to play Wild Rift just for the exclusive storyline that might be part of the event here. But also, we got the potential teaser that Victor might be getting the VGU. And we learned about some of the other designs that might potentially make it to League one day. And if all of these are locked in for both Wild Rift and League PC, then get ready, because the green fur will get people talking.